Let's get to Sepehr. Tell us your fuck
Okay,
up.
okay, a very nice story from Roel. Now I'm going to share one with you. It's well, I have to go a little bit back. I was born during the war, so I'm a war generation, and we were, suffering a lot. And my generation was very special. And in Iran, we have this university entrance exam. Almost 2 million people, something like that, participated back in the days when I was taking the exam, and I got ranked 900. So it's a pretty good rank, and I entered a very good university, Sharif University of Technology, which is a renowned university all over the world. And there are people in very key positions in many successful companies from this university. But when I entered the university, I wasn't really focused on my studies. I was mostly focused on working at my father's company. I was mostly in the business. I wasn't interested in the theory, so my grades weren't, that high, and I had some failed grades. So when I wanted to apply for masters, I had some problems because there was basically no university in the world that wanted me. Everybody wants, the top class, top all straight A students, but I wasn't one of them. I have to be honest. But at the end of the day, I was admitted to this very small university in Canada in a city named Windsor, which is basically on the border between United States and Canada. It's the other side. It's a river, and on the other side is Detroit. So Windsor is a very small, very small city, almost 100,000 people. But I even believe that it's less than that. So imagine somebody coming all the way from Tehran, 15 million people, to a city is basically so small. There's nothing to do in it. And for 2.5 years, I had to live there, and I had to, elevate my grades, build up my resume from scratch. And from when I was very, very young, I always had the dream to study at McGill University. I mean, everybody in Canada wanted to go to McGill because of all the Nobel laureates, all the fascinating research that they had over there. So, at close to the end of my master's studies, I went to Montreal to find a supervisor and find a position, PhD position over there. I searched a little bit. Well, I discussed with some professor, and at the end of the day, there was this young guy that he just started, and it was his first student that he wanted to admit. And we met over there. He was very fascinated by my story, and he said, "Okay, don't talk to anybody else. I'm gonna take you." And I was really proud that okay, I'm gonna go to McGill. Everything is gonna be fine. So we even started some of the project, prior to getting admitted, and everything was smooth. And I was like, yeah, my dreams are gonna come true. I'm gonna go to McGill. But 2, 3 weeks before the admission deadline, I received this call from the professor that, you know what, I cannot take you. And I was really shocked because I hadn't even, discussed with other universities, other professors. The dream was coming true. It was McGill. And the gentleman told me that the admission board had decided that, my past would haunt me. So the grades that I had collected during my bachelor studies wouldn't let me to get admitted to McGill University because they had some standards. And I mean, I had even rented an apartment in Montreal. I had discussed this with a lot of people, and basically everybody was expecting me to get to McGill. But I just heard the news that this would be impossible for me, and I had to look elsewhere. And I mean, at the time, I was devastated. I was like, my the castle of my dreams like collapsed. And I mean, I didn't even have a security school to pursue my PhD studies. But a very important lesson I learned from this. I learned that I should never put all my eggs in one basket. I was so drunk by the success of studying at McGill that I didn't even consider the rest of my options, and I almost lost my opportunities to start a PhD position. But something very good came out of this at the end. So I was panicked. I didn't have other options, so I went back to Montreal. And there is another school, but it's a French school called Polytechnique Montreal. It's part of the University of Montreal. So I went over there and I met one of my old classmates at Sharif University. So he introduced me to his supervisor, and at the end of the day, I was admitted to Polytechnique Montreal. And getting admission to Polytechnic in Montreal and studying over there, I believe it was one of the best things ever happened to me in my life. And at the end, I'm really glad that I was not admitted to McGill.